The Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch just premiered with its 5th season. It's one of Discovery Channel's treasure hunting series. It features Dwayne Ollinger's mission to find the long-lost treasure in the Blind Frog Ranch, located in eastern Utah. Dwayne has invested his entire life looking for the treasure. So far, things are going great as he and his team continue to find clues about the artifacts. But the Season 5 premiere caught many viewers off guard, triggering their claustrophobia. Keep reading to see what happened. The last episode of Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch Season 4 featured the team's final attempt to locate the keyhole chamber. It is believed to be the secret vault that contains treasures worth millions. They were looking at a complex underwater maze, which would require professionals in order to access. However, the season ended abruptly shortly after they started the expedition. Some Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch fans on social media react to the first episode of Season 5. The episode centered on the team's deep dive into an underwater cave. They discovered that inside the cave was a massive space, featuring signs of previous inhabitants. They believe it will take them one step closer to the keyhole chamber. But some fans can't get over how dangerous it was. Some even said that it triggered their claustrophobia. However, several commenters are not convinced about the clues they found in the cave. Discovery Channel's official YouTube channel also showed a clip from the first episode of Season 5 featuring Chad Ollinger's reports about his underwater cavern expedition. According to the Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch star, the spaces were so tight that he could barely fit himself. Chad also found pottery shards and an arrowhead, which are believed to date back 500 to 1,000 years. He also said that it was a series of caverns, and he just kept following it all the way up. He then ended up in a massive space, huge enough for people to live in. The cavern also has a passage that leads to the keyhole chamber. But its distance will be challenging, and there's still a lot of unknown throughout the cavern. The cavern yawns, jagged edges clawing at the echoing darkness. Bits of limestone shimmer under the weak beam of a single headlamp, pushing its feeble circle through the oppressive blackness. No one moves, yet every movement is an assault. Muscles tense against invisible walls. Breathing becomes a battle. Shadows writhe like living things. The air tastes like iron and old sweat, heavy with the weight of layered sealed doors above. The faint pulse of distant water drips in rhythm with an anxious heartbeat, growing louder in the silence, until the world narrows to the sound, the darkness, the squeeze. A damp, chalky chill seeps through clothing, creeping across skin that twitch feels every difference in texture. Walls press in, not literally, but in mind. A sudden pang of panic. The backpack straps constrict across shoulders. Each breath demands more effort. The passage slopes downward, narrowing incrementally. Cracks in the ceiling seem to lean inward, as if tectonic, one wrong shift, and the roof will collapse. Loose shards of rock cling to surfaces, threatening to fall with only a whisper. For an instant, the world snaps down to those fragments and the fine grit raining onto pale skin. Instinct recoils. Stalactites, sharp and needle-thin, hang like suspended swords overhead. Any pause in step draws awareness straight up, threatening, looming, erect. The occasional sensation of something brushing a backpack strap causes a wave of dread, even when nothing is there. The beam from the single light, unoccupied by human voice or thought, swivels across slick walls, revealing ancient inscriptions half eroded by time and damp. The meaning slips beneath consciousness, leaving only the impression of eyes watching from the past. Recognition flares, then is overwhelmed by deeper pressure. The closeness of rock, the impossibility of escape. The floor tilts precariously. Uneven earth shifts underfoot. Loose gravel shifts, rolling into crevices. A sudden slide of small stones further narrows the path ahead. The corridor feels like a funnel, dragging inward. It's not enough to move forward. Even standing still is a trial. Heart races. The junction ahead, unseen, beckons, promising either liberation or deeper confinement. A breath that takes in too much cold air reminds of possible suffocation. The lungs tighten. The throat catches. Focus shatters between each inhalation, each step that must not slip. Beneath boot heels, a slick patch of mud. Ancient, sticky, clings. A foot tugs free with struggle that echoes in the unseen space. The echo reverberates. The darkness hums. The light pulses. The corridor bends sharply. Around the corner, the light announces a chamber, but not relief. The entryway is sealed by a low overhang. Crawling forward is mandatory. Every motion panels pressure against torso, the rock above breathes against skull. Crawling becomes dragging. Ground is cold, rough. Fingertips scrape across damp stone, collecting grit and moisture. The tongue tastes grit. Walls close in. Arms feel pinned inward. The chest compresses. Breathing becomes shallow, fleeting. The chamber expands marginally, but only enough to accommodate the body flattened on limestone. The faintest drop of water overhead makes contact with helmet, travels down to lens, blurring the view. A drip follows another. The passage becomes rhythm. Hint of human voice, no reassurance. Only footsteps that cannot stop, progressing deeper. The cold well of tunnel. There is a seal, a metal door set into the stone. The beam hits it, glancing off dull hinges half hidden in rust. A plate set into door, altered beyond legibility. Goalposts shift. The claustrophobia tightens. The door is the only possible exit, but it seems fused to stone. The thought, what if it doesn't open? Cold metal chills fingers that inch along the frame. The beam dances across gaps where mechanisms could hide. Only silence remains. No latch clicks. No creak yields. Just persistent weight of earth. In the beam's cone, shapes emerge, sometimes bones, animal remnants, or natural deposits that mimic skeletal form. The mind cannot distinguish. Every suggestion multiplies the suffocation. The light flickers, battery dying, beam narrowing. Heart threatens to stop. A foot inched forward, sliding into a narrow crack in the floor. The body must follow. Knees press into cold earth. Elbows slide against slick mineral. The corridor shrinks. Movement becomes a chain reaction, an unavoidable surrender to the throttle of walls. The ceiling closes further. A drop of water lands squarely on top of the headlamp, causing the battery to sputter. Darkness amplifies everything. Sound becomes more than echo. Every drip is thunder, every breath is a struggle for survival. In darkness, awareness pulls inwards. The stone's texture, the damp coldness, the damp odor, must be remembered. A pulse in eardrums, heartbeat thudding. It is all that remains. Tiny pinprick of light ahead. Possibly daylight. Possibly a coolant reflector. Possibly the spark of vision where the door might give. Is it real? Panicking brings awareness of shrinking tunnel, breathing tightness, feet that cannot go back. Only forward light remains. Flickers to life. The last battery pulses in beacon. It shows a narrow metal slot, the gap between door and frame. Thin and elongated. Just wide enough. Light through. Maybe freedom. But stretching forward breaks ribs. The mind calculates risk. Step. Slide. Press chest into rock. The tunnel's contraction echoes in bones. The beam expands that narrow slot, illuminating a claustrophobic swamp of condensation on the other side. Beyond, a faint glow glimmers on wet stone. Maybe promise. Maybe torchlight from above. Maybe rescue. But to reach the slot, every inch is agony. Hands grip stone and metal. Fingers fail. Panic tumbles inward. Lungs refuse. But the body persists. Inches. Pressure. Pain, a breath that is a gasp. Not heard, just felt. The chest flares. The spotlight flares wide, casting shards of light onto the closing walls. The body burrows forward. Head first. Eyes shut beneath helmet. Dawn in the brain floods senses. Then the crack widens. A silhouette of rough stone overhead. Cracks between it and metal. Light spills through. A breeze, faint but present. Air from open space. Relief blasts into lungs, hot and cold mixing. The senses rebel. Air tastes sweet for a moment. Body thuds through the slot into a small alcove. Dark, damp, but not crushing. The walls there are several feet away. There's room, barely, to sit, chest no longer pressed. The beam swings, ceiling arched high. Cold still rolls, but not through suffocating touch. The head will tilt back. Eyes, behind helmet face shield, will glimpse high rock ceiling with pulsing stalactites. Then upward, a fissure that frames distant sky. Blue, shimmering. The mind begins to float. The body relaxes, but remains curled. Muscles release only marginally, as if wary of the walls shifting again. A breath, steady, painful, but complete. There is silence now, only faint echoes. The oppressive corridor no longer suffocates. The alcove's space feels enormous by comparison, yet claustrophobia lingers, a scar in muscles, memory in bones. The alcove's safety is fragile. Out there, beyond that slot, awaits the unknown. Darker tunnels, maybe rescue, maybe deeper traps. But for this moment, within these few free feet, there is space enough to breathe.